Hi, welcome back to AlextheRed&More. So this is a 23-24 season review I'll be doing of Liverpool in Premier League and also their Europa League, League Cup, FA Cup, and of course a bit of review as well into Klopp leaving as well. So back in August, we already had McAllister and Szoboszlai signed, and just before that first Premier League game against Chelsea, we were differing about a lot with Lavia and also the Caicedo saga as well, which Liverpool bid, but Chelsea ended up outbidding him because Caicedo wanted to go Chelsea way more with us, and there was so much time wasting on both that stuff, and that meant we missed out on Lavia too and had to settle for Endo, which didn't prove out too bad at the start, to be fair anyway. So that first game was a draw, obviously expected, and then we go on to get a routine comeback win at home to Bournemouth second game. Then first big test away at Newcastle, 1-0 down with 10 men for the majority of the match, but then all of a sudden Nunes came on late in the game and scored two winners just before stoppage time, just to get us a 2-1 win. And from there I thought, could this finally be Nunes proving himself for it could be Liverpool's leading number 9? But we'll soon find out later in the season that may not be the case. And we end just before the international break for 3-0 win against Villa, and we were all thinking Szoboszlai's goal and his play in that game would be so amazing, but scoring and performing well early on doesn't always mean you'll continue into the late half of the season. And then September, a bit mixed. The first half September was mainly about those 3-1 wins after the international break in both the league and cup, and then at the end we have the most corrupt game you ever see, that 2-1 defeat at Tottenham, where we all know what happened. I won't go much into that. And then Brighton 2-2 draw. Both teams in the end probably deserve a point from that game. Then going into the October international, or into October, get a routine win home to Everton. And then, despite decent performances in the Europa League and League so far, we come to our first sort of like red flag of the season, which was away at Luton, and Nunes missed 2 sitters in that game, and we had to get Diaz injury time equalised just to avoid defeat. And that was a big red flag that Liverpool would unfortunately not win the title of the season. But then after the international break, we get a decent draw, 1-1 draw at Man City, and then we come to December, and then so the first match of December was the amazing 4-3 comeback win over Fulham, and we were also ecstatic about that, and we thought this could mean something more later on progress in the season. Then we get 2 sort of wins actually from our Crystal Palace, which I sort of guess slightly lucky, especially the Crystal Palace one, considering Palace had been down to 10 men, and Liverpool played pretty poor battle how much, but managed to grind out a 2-1 win. I was thinking that could be proof tolerant form, but then we come to the Man U game at home in the league, and that of course is such a disappointing 0-0, which was awful when comparing it to the game last season at Anfield, which we of course won 7-0. And then unfortunately draw 0-0 to such a poor Man U side. I was thinking at the time, well, Liverpool still like top a bit of the Premier League, but I was thinking this is such the second main red flag of the season, as considering like a proper lack of effort and being so wasteful in the final third of all it, and United probably even had the closer chance of the game. But even still, after that we get a very good win against West Ham in the League Cup 4-0, and then of course gets us a perfect semi-final draw against them for later in January, and then sort of like a top 2 clash at the end against Arsenal, which ends in 1-1. But Liverpool, I thought a bit more unlucky in that one because of a sort of penalty in the first half which shouldn't have been given, and Liverpool in the end probably only had some self-blame for not getting on to win that because of the missed counter-attack opportunities they had in that game. Then progressing after that, we win quite on Boxing Day, and then on New Year's Day, and then of course in the FA Cup third round, that tough game away Arsenal, we ended up winning 2-0. And then later, after that, before drawing that, the 11-day break in January, we had progressed to the League Cup final again, being Fulham 3-2 on aggregate in the semi-finals. But that Fulham game away after that, 2 days later only, we had the most shocking, the first proper shock announcement in any sort of sport or non-sporting event of the year so far. 26th January 2024, we won't forget the day Jurgen Klopp himself announced he'll be leaving Liverpool at the end of the season. So first when I heard it, I was in a bit of shock, but then when I digested the news further and probably listened to his interview, I definitely could understand why he decided to leave Liverpool. As the main quote, running out of energy, heavily proved in the coming months leading up to his exit from Liverpool, but I thought to explain that for now. But first game after that, home to Norwich, easily progressed in the FA Cup 4th round to the 5th round and have a very good win at home to Chelsea in the league, beating them 4-1, which was the performance of the season so far. We then got Arsenal away, which was only the second to be in the league this season, and that wasn't necessarily a red flag, but it was sort of bad in the end the way we lost because of Van Dijk has a mistake, and Arsenal simply just outclassed us on the day, and that gave them a massive lift in coming back into the title race with such a surge, and they'd go close to winning all their main games as the season proved. And then, but we still recovered from that, winning like 4 in a row, and of course in between all that, we had the great League Cup win with Klopp's kids, winning the League Cup for him, and from there I thought this really could be the start of a quadruple charge again, as despite all the injuries we had, Klopp's managed to motivate his kids to put on such an amazing performance in the end against such a £1 billion bowl job Chelsea. Yeah, and of course, after those 4 league games after the Arsenal game, we come to had easily beat Sparta Prague in the Europa League, but in between that, we had Man City at home, and that ended up being a draw despite so much build up to the game. And I was thinking after that it was very much well in the balance, and even though we should have had a late penalty on Dale from Macasta getting a foul, I thought Dion should have done a lot better with the 1-on-1 he had, especially in the second half, and but we still did very well in the end considering the circumstances of the squad to get a point out of that. But then but just before the international break, the last day before, we have the FA Cup quarter final away at Man United, and there we played poor in this first half, still managed to come 2-1 up towards the end, and then we had so many great counter-attack opportunities to finish the game in that second half, but then through a lack of concentration and lack of focus, or maybe tired legs from some players playing in the Europa League when they shouldn't have, Liverpool conceded an equaliser to Anthony, I think, and Man U nearly won it in full time as well before going extra time. And then come to extra time, Liverpool still retake the lead through Elliott, but then lack of communication, effort again, and carelessness means they can equalise. And when Liverpool trying to go for that late win in just before the 120th minute, was become very vulnerable to a counter attack, which passed through Tammy Diallo just about on the width of the pitch. He managed to slot it past Keller in goal, and that 4-3 defeat in the end. Many fans, both Liverpool and non-Liverpool, will say that was the moment Liverpool ultimately crumble massively towards the end of the season in both the Premier League and Europe. And psychologically, it mean they would be unable to continue the way they were doing, and massive doubts were effortlessly thrown, and a massive impact psychologically really took its toll on them, and they could no longer sort of do it for what Klopp wanted them to. And then of course, after the international break, we have that 3 weeks later, we have that 2-2 draw at Old Trafford in the league, where Liverpool take the lead in the first half and absolutely dominate, should have been at least 3-0 up, but then sort of a mistake from Quanson, which enables Fernandes to chip Kelleher, and then a wonder goal from mainly puts them in front, and Liverpool have to rescue with a late penalty from Salah. But there was definitely the proof, or maybe absolute proof, of Liverpool not be able to go and win the league. And then, of course, that the worst performance and the worst result of the more, there was that 3-0 defeat to Atalanta at home in the Europa League. As from there on, I sort of knew the absolute whole season would be over, because you cannot lose 3-0 at home like that to any European side unless it's Real Madrid. And forms was just stinky, absolutely stinky, horrible. I absolutely hated it and absolutely deserved to be bantered through the way and circumstances and that. And that's when I sort of like start blaming Klopp for the proper first time, for the sole reason alone of a result. Then we get to Crystal Palace at home, 14th April, and after that 1-0 defeat at home, which was full of wasteful chances, but such dodgy defending as well. That's when it was mathematically impossible for Liverpool to win the league if they were to win, even if they were to win their last 6 games after that. And I absolutely knew from there they would only win some but draw or lose some as well, and that proved to be the case, as we only won 3 of the last 6 games overall, and only finished finishing behind the eventual winners Man City by 9 points. We finished 82, Man City 91, and Arsenal 89, and Palace defeat home was probably the last straw for most Liverpool fans in terms of like the season being totally over. And so I won't go into any of the last 3 or the last 6 games, because it was all just conversation and on the beach football from Liverpool. So was Klopp announcing his leaving have been the main reason for this sort of like mini collapse, capitulation at the end? Well, unfortunately, overall, I'd have to say probably yes, because they think in the players' minds they'd be thinking like, how can we still continue this for Klopp when the new manager is coming in at the end of the season, and we're only like fairly still new and much experience, and the experienced guys that are here don't seem to be quite at their levels compared to 18-19 and 19-20. And because a lot of these players are new, even some of the ones that aren't new signings like Bradley and Quantu who came from the academy, this is their first 3, and Klopp's such a father figure to these massive people, and for him to announce this leaving must have took its mental toll on them. But I think Klopp should have probably handled it better with them and explained to them that if you do this for me and do the absolute best to win at least one more trophy after that League Cup, then you'd be going down. You could potentially be going down in such folklore of massive football achievements, and you should have sent someone on to say like explain how he's running out of energy, and someone else will continue for them, because that's how I sort of sense it sort of went down at the end. And even his in-game tactics and game management from like March and April onwards, because that was clearly shown in both Atalanta games and even the Crystal Palace game, which was unfortunately why we had such a mini bottling capitulation at the end. But also, well, that guess ends well 23-24 overall. I'd say is the 4th best season overall under Klopp, and that's because we still won a trophy at the end of it, and the only 3 above it are the Champions League winning season, the Premier League winning season, and the season of 2 seasons ago where we made such a quadruple charge but only won the League Cup and FA Cup. But anyway, up the Reds and the Arnie slot. I trust slot for now, but we'll see how that goes.